So I was going to come out here and say, who's ridden a Waymo, but I'm freezing cold. And if this was a Waymo, I could turn up the temperature and it would be like a toasty 76 degrees. And I would say that that's the beauty of these autonomous vehicles. Waymo's here to stay, as are AVs. And investors are salivating. They're estimating that it's going to be $1 trillion industry over the next 10 years. But the question is, profits are large, but can we really get consumers to adopt this new tech? We can learn a lot about technology adoption as we observe how Waymos have been rolled out and how consumers have reacted to them. Here's the funny part. Waymos came out, attitudes towards Waymos were actually dropping, and towards AVs in general. J.D. Power did a study in 2021 to 2023, and they found that consumer sentiment had totally gone down. The problem was that no one who actually answered that study could have taken a Waymo. Waymos were only introduced in 2023 in Arizona and then in 2024 in California. The thing is that when something seems like science fiction, people get scared, especially the closer it appears. But when it actually does show up, there's a lot of enthusiasm for the tech. We see this every day in our app at Obi. What we found was that Waymo rides are way more expensive, 30 to 40%. This company would argue with me right now and say 15%, but they're still more expensive. Now, what we do know, though, is our very price-conscious audience, the minute we put it into our app, started taking more Waymo rides. They also said 70% preferred to be in the car alone and without a driver. So once people started interacting with autonomy, what they really realized was that there was skepticism initially and then enthusiasm. Now, some of the fears are real, right? And there is a ripple effect here. When a Waymo drives into a police or a Waymo drove through a school bus stop. That's actually really, really serious, right? Like, these are serious things that are happening. But what we're finding is that the concerns are splitting along lines, especially around age. Older riders overall are more concerned about the impact on drivers and the economy. Younger riders care about the impact on data and hacking and privacy. And what we found, geographically, there were also really key differences. Consumers in Arizona who had this technology since 2023, highly concerned about technology failure. Consumers in California, paranoid that they're being recorded in the car, so don't do anything bad. We don't know what's happening there. But what we do know is that privacy, adoption, all of this is like making people wary of the technology to a degree, but still willing to adopt it. One of the biggest things we also saw, though, was that people still don't think the cars are safe. Only 1 out of 3 riders in an AV believes that it's going to be safer than a human driver in 5 years. But that's actually not true. I missed actually one of the most important things I did want to say, which is that the biggest gap has happened around gender. And in gender, what we found was that there was an assumption that women would adopt Waymos and AVs immediately because of safety concerns, but they have been very slow to adopt them. Only 16% of women have immediately taken an AV versus 38% of men. And more importantly, men are more willing to actually just put their children in a car and let it drive away. There you go. Getting back to the idea of safety, though, what I will say is this. I was at CES last week. Mercedes and NVIDIA are coming out with an AV. They claim it's the safest car that's ever existed. And overall, we know that these cars are safer than human drivers. But the willingness to accept that and the willingness to actually get to a place where we really believe that and want to adopt that technology is what we need to design for and really think about overall. So thank you so much, everyone.